incredible stuff. Gold, 2000 plus $2020 actually. Very nice close. Very rare that we have this kind of a close. In fact, it might be unprecedented. Triple top stuff in gold. I think we're going to hold base, go higher. I think we've got all the reasons to do that. Geopolitics, macroeconomics, technicals, absolutely everything. So it makes sense that this time is different, and this time we hold 2000 and maybe even propel to 3000, etc. We'll see. I'm not one to start fantasizing over huge numbers, but it really, for me, I think this is it. I mean, silver 2450. Obviously, we're way behind. We're not at $50, but technically also and fundamentally everything is aligning. So we're going to look at those. I got so much to say about the miners too, but I want to cover what I said in my last video, which was a very quick 6-minute video or something pre-market yesterday, where everything looked different. Gold was hitting 1950, looking weak. The dollar was at its high of day at the time where I made the recording, so it looked like the dollar might go higher. But I did say, look, it's all about the close. Anything can happen, and obviously the day had just started. So what a difference. I mean, that day by the end of the day, everything was the opposite. The dollar closed at low of day, looked horrible. I'll get into all of this. And gold and silver had totally rallied and done what I said was the one exception to it looking bearish, which is to close with a very nice hammer completely within the trend lines. And look what happened today. We had some continuation. So anyway, I'll get into that, gold, silver, the dollar and all that. Let's just look at the market. So start off with the S&P, a small red day today, not for the Russell. I've said that the Russell is the weakest one, the one to go down with the banking stocks. I'll get into all of that just now. S&P, right? Let's just start in the usual chronological order. The S&P opened a high of day, closed at low of day. I mean, touched what I would call support and prior resistance. I haven't moved this line, so it makes sense. I think we're just going to go lower. I think we had a nice move. Fundamentally trashy economy, structurally, every reason for it to go down. Geopolitically, I mean, look at all of the BRIC nations, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, all of the East, if I can call the West us, the East are just completely allying together. So whatever angle you look at it, I don't know if this Trump fake arrest stuff is playing into the markets, but we do have macroeconomic data, right? Yesterday, what was it? Was it ISM? Today, God, I've forgotten actually. But every day we have one sort of 5 out of 5 level news coming out. You just go to FX Street economic calendar to see what it is. There's one every day. I think we've got non-farm payrolls on Friday, Wednesday. Tomorrow we have another big one. God, I've forgotten what it is. But every day we have big news, and I don't even think it matters. I think we're just going to go lower. Anyway, just technically, the S&P, it's not bearish because it's just had a bit of a drop. What I think is going to happen, I think we're going to continue going lower. But technically, this should just sort of drift a little lower maybe and then go back up. But I'm sorry, I wouldn't buy it. I wouldn't be surprised if we go lower. So S&P just sideways, a little sideways retracement. Now the Nasdaq, obviously it's been the strongest one. It's, and actually look at this. I haven't moved this line either. Looks like this resistance I placed ages ago, several days ago anyway, at least until this bar came up, acts as resistance also. So a bit like the S&P, I don't know, can you draw this extra little trend line here to be very, very, maybe I'll leave it in there, but I think this is too steep actually, because as soon as you have one drop, you're going to be touching it straight away. So you know what? I'm going to avoid the noise. I just think we're going to retrace low. I think the markets have no business over here. And again, I think the banking stocks will take it all down. Even though they seem to have survived the banking crash, it is not over. That was the beginning, in my opinion. The Dow Jones, just like the S&P, although actually unlike the S&P, which sort of found resistance in the middle of no man's land, I think the S&P reversed because the other markets reversed. And actually the other markets reversed because they were at resistance. The Nasdaq was at its resistance. The Dow Jones was at its resistance. You can see, again, I drew this line a while ago. By a while ago, I mean not today. So I think the S&P and the Nasdaq hit resistance, and therefore they all followed each other and just retraced lower. And that's why all three have the candles they have today. Again, with the Dow Jones and the Russell and the Nasdaq making more sense than the S&P, which is in the middle of no man's land. The Russell retraced. Look at that heavy retracement. Forget this line; it doesn't make sense anymore. Yeah, I think the Russell is following the banking stocks, something I've said for a while, since really the banking crisis took the markets down, especially the Russell. If we look at the banking stocks, okay, the XLF, look at that. I can't believe I didn't draw that one in. This high here coincides with these highs here, so now we can be sure that that's real resistance. I don't think we're going to go back up there. I think we're going to go lower, test the lows. That's the seniors. That's the XLF. The KBE is also a senior. Look, is that really the KBE? Yeah. Look at that. You know, definitely destined a little gap close, but whatever. It's just following the KRE, which is the smaller regional banks. Look at this one. Weaker. Okay, we didn't close at low of day, but give it one more day and we could probably close below the absolute low here. Look at I reckon a close below 41 would completely do it. And then we're just looking at, yeah, the 2020 lows. Why not? It should be there already, to be honest. So for me, all right, just to recap, the KRE, just watch the KRE. If the KRE starts to go down, I don't care what everyone else is doing, you're going down. So the KBE will obviously follow, makes sense. KBE and XLF, just the general banking stocks. And by the way, some of these good, healthy, senior banking stocks that everyone recognizes are looking very shaky. And yeah, if the banks go down, sorry, but all the markets go down. I don't even care what the macro news is of the day, you know, non-farm payroll, oh my God. So let's just look at, I want to make this a short video, but I'm sorry, I'm going to have to go a little longer. Let's look at, okay, Deutsche Bank, I think, is the next shoe to drop. It wasn't the biggest drop, but it will drop, in my opinion. Credit Suisse doesn't matter. It's finished. It's over. It's like a stock that's gone bankrupt. It's just, I know it's got merged by UBS for 3 billion or whatever, but the chart doesn't matter anymore. I mean, look, green on a red day. No, it's already been killed. Right? You see a lot of these stocks that are destroyed and they just keep hanging around for 2-3 years. So I'm not going to look at that. Schwab, Charles Schwab. This is another one that could get slaughtered. Right? There was a bit of panic. And you can see this day here where it really freaked out. And I mean, this one, okay, it's been strong for several years. So it does have strong support. You can see I've already drawn that in. But yeah, it's kind of one of the banks in the crosshairs. So, and look at the close. Worst close in a long time, right? The KRE had its support this day. So Charles Schwab looks horrible. And if the banking stocks go down, we're going to go visit 45 low again. So I'm watching Charles Schwab, Klaus Schwab, whatever his name is. That guy always gets in my mind. HSBC, okay, it doesn't look that horrible when you zoom in, but when you zoom out, let's go to the weekly, look at that. It's not like the other strong stocks like Goldman Sachs, for example. So yeah, HSBC, I've also got my eye on. Now, one that's even worse is Citibank. Okay, look at the weekly, disgusting stuff. Zoom in on the daily. Look at this, right? This is the ascending line that we're looking at. I should have made it white. Now, if we zoom in, look at this candle. We have a few days. Imagine KRE makes new lows, then Citi's going to start flirting with the low 40s. If we lose 40, especially this ascending line, then we've got Citigroup in huge problems. And this is definitely one of the big boys. Bank of America. Look at this. I zoom in. This looks like the KRE, one of the small regional banks. Look at the KRE. Okay, it looks more like the KBE, but same thing. It's not. It's just not looking strong. So Bank of America is one. You know, give it 1 or 2 days, and we're touching the lows. This is not your Nasdaq looking stock, is it? This is not Nvidia. This is Bank of America, a huge big boy. Wells Fargo, exactly the same chart. They're 1 or 2 days from making new lows since the bear market. And so goes the banks, so goes the economy. Right, First Republic is just one of the trashy ones that deserves to be up there with Credit Suisse. It's just, whatever, I'll leave it here. So, all right, let's look at some other ones. Morgan Stanley, it's not as weak. That's why I left it here. JP Morgan, the big fortress. Yeah, okay. 1 or 2 days and we're down here flirting with the lows. And this will just, you know, accelerate the other ones going down. So point is, banking stocks look very weak, even the big, strong senior boys. Okay, let's look at yields. Now back to the same picture. Yields were red, okay, which means bonds are being bought out of fear, and therefore the market drops, and therefore you've also got other fear trades on, like volatility, gold. Okay, you can see I missed out volatility today because again, it's broken, but at least it was green. But the point is, yields down means for me, markets down, banks down, gold up. And that's what happened again today. Look at the yields. And I did suggest, look, we're topping a bit here. So especially on the shorter term, 1 year, 2 year, look at that drop in the 2 year. Give it another day and we're testing the lows again. Wow. 5 year, look at that. 1 day, we're back at the lows. 10 year, my goodness, I didn't even notice this. Maybe early tomorrow, we're absolutely testing the lows. 30 year, testing the ascending support. That's going to be quite interesting. I'm going to watch yields a bit closer now. So yields down, bonds up, fair trade back. How is the market going to hold up to that? It's not. So for me, watch the KRE banking stocks, especially the regional, specifically the KRE. I'm watching that chart. I'm glued to it. Despite gold being at 2000, I'm glued to the KRE, believe it or not. So KRE and Russell, those two are the ones you watch for the general market barometer. Yields, yeah, watch the 2 year, watch the 10 year if you really want to watch that. I'm going to start watching that again. I haven't been watching yields for a while. I mean, intraday, I watch it sort of end of day or pre-market a little bit. But yeah, let's look at the dollar. Dollar, my God. I remember I did my video yesterday when the dollar was here and saying, oh, watch for a close. I said it's all about the close. Watch for close outside of this descending. So let's say above 103. And I said, especially above this horizontal, that will signal and move up. What happens? We just basically drift lower. After that video, just pretty much marked the top. And then we had this close. I didn't get to do a video yesterday after the close. Didn't have the time. But otherwise, I was going to say, this looks bearish because this is a horrible close. And this tail proves that there's way too much selling. It's almost a perfect candle. Bearish candle, and then we've got the follow through today, close near low of day. There's no, actually could maybe argue, look at these tails here, 1 2 3 4. This is kind of this is not really support, but if there's anything that you can claim to be support between this white line, which was support, and this one, which will be support, it would be here. I'm going to leave this in, but I would just bet on a move down to 101, or even the low of day 101. It doesn't matter, it's the same thing. So dollar looks bad. What I would say though is, when we get down here 101, you can expect a small bounce, right? You can't just go through. I mean, I guess you could, but I would expect a small bounce, like a little quick flip from here to, for example, we move down here, we probably find support just above that last low, which probably will coincide with 101, and then a move back up, and then whatever. And to be honest, probably flush. Maybe there was some news that acts as a catalyst or brings us out. But even if we bounce really hard and break out of this descending, I still think we're going to go test it and eventually flush it. It's not going to take that long, but I think you get my point. Okay, so that's the dollar. I'm not even going to bother looking at the FXs because it's all represented in the DXY, and I've already spent too long on the banks. So let's move straight to commodities. The sector of the hour. Copper, which actually to me looked very bullish here. I thought we'd have a little breakout. I'm not sure why it broke down. I mean, it's not broken down yet. It's touching prior support. So yeah, I mean, I could go lower. You wouldn't expect it to go below this low here because it made a hell of a rally, strong, and it went above the high from where the drop started. It went sort of above this, which to me normally says, okay, we're not going to go and take down this low. But yeah, I don't know. I'd expect it to sort of keep going like this and eventually break out. We still haven't had our close outside of this descending. You know, I thought we had it like after this wasn't it. And then here you can see the tails, and here, you know, so copper actually hasn't technically closed outside the descending, but it's definitely tried. Maybe because it's tried and failed so many times, they just said, okay, it needs to go lower to prove itself again. I don't know. I don't know if it's following the markets, but the markets went down that much. Whatever. To me, copper is going to go sideways, close outside, you know, close above this descending and eventually rally. I'm sorry, but look at gold and silver, look at the dollar. I think copper needs to choose its camp. Are you following the markets or are you following the metals? And it should be following the metals. So, and I've heard a lot of bullish theses or whatever out there saying there's actually there's a stronger argument for copper to go up more than gold and silver. So whether that's true or not, I don't know, but that should suggest we're going up. I mean, gold's at 2000, so copper, a bit surprised by that. I think it's just sort of needs to prove itself as it's failed to break out of this descending, but I think we're going to go back up. Natural gas spending too long at the lows, too long. I thought this last candle yesterday did it, you know, but I'm not sure. The longer it spends down here, the worse, because it's sort of losing its momentum to break out, and it probably would go lower. I don't care. I'm averaged down around here. I've done 2 buys, call it 2.4, 2.5, my average. Probably covered in one day, one big pump day, and I'm back in the black. But actually, I don't mind it going lower. Making so much money in the gold and silver miners that, and I keep trimming little amounts just to make sure. Like, for example, imagine I made $4,000 today. I'll take out 4,000 on the sidelines. Boom. Don't care what happens anymore. So all this buildup of profits from specifically gold and silver miners, I gotta deploy it somewhere. I don't want to hold dollars. I mean, I don't mind. I'm making decent interest actually in interactive brokers, but still, I prefer to buy natural gas if it goes lower. So anyway, the point is natural gas. I would expect a pump already, but yeah, if it goes low, I got a plan for that. WTI, yeah, at least it was green. Obviously we had that news, right? The oil cuts from the new alliance, which is taken over the east, sorry. Saudi Arabia, the Middle Eastern countries, basically OPEC and even non-OPEC countries just saying we're gonna cut. Russia also, of course. But look, it's basing here above at resistance. So let's see if it bases a bit more, and then maybe we start to break out and see it close above 83. So I think you've obviously got the reason, right? Geopolitically, you've got the supply demand, local supply demand reason for it. So oil's a bit special. I would expect to move higher. I think technically it's also proved itself here. So I mean, it proved itself here before the news, and then we had this pump. Obviously, people knew already. You know, there's always insider trading, especially when it's you know, all these types of countries. I mean, it's gonna be some insider info there, but still, I think we have a reason to go higher. And imagine there's a drop. Imagine there's a retrace. Of course, there's going to be buying. You know, it was already here before the news. I mean, a drop would be a gift. So I don't think a drop would last very long. Okay, uranium. This is, for me, great because I missed the buy on uranium. I predicted, I'm not going to say predicted. I thought that it would drop here. I thought it would, you know, rally a little bit and basically flush. Now it rallied a bit more. It's, I don't know, would you say this counts as closing out above the descending line? Not really, not the best one, is it? This candle here, and then we're back down below. The point is, if the markets go low, which I think they're going to do, what does uranium do? Does it just sort of go back down here and flush? I expect it to go sideways, which means I don't really know what it's going to do. But it also means I don't think it's going to flush, but I don't think it's going to go much higher. So just drift sideways. And I don't know, hopefully flush. I'm not sure about uranium, but I think if the markets fall, so does uranium, and I would love that to happen, especially uranium stocks, actually. Yeah, uranium, I'm just going to watch because it could get interesting. I need to buy some uranium. I don't own any. So I've got a bunch of stocks I'm looking at, and I'll cover that. If uranium starts to flush, I'll definitely start covering uranium a bit more, including some of the uranium miners. Okay, gold and silver. Yeah, so when I did the video yesterday, early morning, we were at 1950. I said, look, it's got to close. It's all about the close, and the close at 1950, even below, is really for me the not the end of gold, but a signal that we're going to go lower, 1870. And then we just rallied, and look at this really strong candle. The tail, I mean, yeah, the tail, the bottom of the tail marked the low of day. And look how high we went. We even tested 1990. So it closed at 1984. For me, I was just, oh my God, this is so strong. And look at this continuation today. Just absolutely amazing. Close at 2020. Like, did we have that kind of close? Yeah, we did. You know, on this 2020 big pump here. But look what happened. You know, we had a close around that area, 2020, kept on going, 2017, and then we just dropped. And from there, it was just months and months of sideways, lower grind. Obviously, we had this move back up. But yeah, I don't know. This time, is it different? I just feel like it is. Let's see. What you really want is a close above the all-time historic high. I'm not sure how high we're going to go tomorrow. I don't even know what to expect tomorrow. Do we retrace, go dip down below 2000 and then go back up, or do we just go up straight away? I really don't know. I don't need to know. I just need to have a plan for whatever happens, which I've got. Right now, I'm just trimming what I make. It's one of the things I do when I get in the situation, because I already trimmed my miners. And now that it goes up again, I just think, okay, I don't want to sell anymore, but I want to take at least what I made off the table. That way I don't care still what happens. And that's what I did. But gold, honestly, it's hard to tell. It depends on the dollar. Do we go low on the dollar and test 101? If we do, yeah, gold will go higher. How much of a move is needed for gold to hit? Oh, 2.5% is asking much. Today was a big day. So if we're not going to go maybe 2050, it's still a bit, maybe. But remember, we've had an extended move, and it's just, I don't know. I really don't know. So I'm not going to guess. I'll let the charts do the talking. Let's just see what happens. Resistance is very clear, 2070, 2069 probably in reality. If you want to sell that, sell 2069. So let's see. On the way down, I think 1985, 1990 will be a buy, maybe even 2000. It depends, right? Macro news, dollar, markets. At the moment, gold is still going in the opposite direction of the markets, and the markets have a long way to fall, in my opinion. So, what will I be watching tomorrow? Yesterday, I'll be watching KRE. I'll be watching the Russell. I'll be watching the dollar, and I'll be watching gold, silver, and the miners, and any individual stock I'm looking to trade. Okay, silver. Yeah, beautiful stuff. Yesterday, you know, silver was at low of day when I made my video. I thought, okay, you know, it depends on the gold close, but silver, you can expect it to maybe go lower down to here. I don't know if I said that, but that's what I would have said. That's the sort of first support I could find. Totally irrelevant. Look at this. This we did in one day what we failed to do during this entire period. Just smash. This is what it needed. One of those get the hell out of my way. I'm going up 4.5%. I'm closing a high of day. I'm closing above the high of this horizontal, above this descending. Clearly, you know, that's what you need. Just a decisive yes, it's a breakout. Now it needs to hold. It can retrace. It's allowed to retrace even back down to 24. It's allowed, and you know, curl back up and do a little cup and handle and go higher. But it would be great if it could hold this, continue, especially if gold goes sideways. If gold, imagine gold sort of goes down back to 2000 and has a healthy retest and holds. And so imagine during that small drop in gold, you've got silver going higher, you know, going up for 26. Like that would be amazingly bullish. It's possible too. And you know what? It is possible. I've seen silver do it. And look at this. We close at total high of day. Why not? You know, why not just keep going tomorrow? Just all of a sudden tomorrow you wake up and it's at 25.8 or something. That's the next level. I mean, in fact, I need to start drawing these levels. I mean, in gold, I drew the 2070 level. This one, I would say, is, see, I can see the high here. Now, is it there? Yeah, it's 26. It's also a nice round number. I'm going to say 26. Keep it simple. And then after that will be, you know, 27. Yeah, makes sense. After that, 28. This is very easy. But 29 doesn't count. 28, 30. I don't need to draw these, but go on since it's done. Yeah, I'll say 28. Okay, whatever. But let's see. I don't actually see 25.5 as a, no, 26. Okay, well, let's see. Let's see what happens. It's absolutely amazing. It's really amazing. Yeah, let's see. See what the dollar does. Let's see what the markets do. Let's see what gold does. But silver, perfect day for silver. The miners, it just had to follow. You know, I thought yesterday, even once the market opened, you know, gold had done its big reversal. It looked strong. So the miners kept going and basically tested their old highs. They tested their old highs. I trimmed a tiny bit yesterday because despite how strong gold looked and the miners, you know, doing quite well, I just felt like the miners weren't up as much as they should be. And okay, you know, we kept going. But even today, I just felt look at that. How can, first of all, GDXJ is up less than GDX. That's weird. I mean, that's not perfect bullish signal. And second of all, silver's up 4.5%. We should be up like 7%, 8%. So that for me, that suggests that the miners are still tired. And yeah, that's why I trimmed again. And by trim, I don't mean taking more out. Like imagine I have 50,000 in miners for the beginning of the day. It doesn't mean that by the end of the day I have 45,000. It means I still have 50. I just sold what I made. So if I have 50,000 and I made 4 grand, so now I've got 54. Well, I took out that 4 grand, so now it's just 50,000 still. So I literally took out what I made just so that I don't get angry if it keeps going up. And if it goes down, then I'm happy I'm sold, happier than if I hadn't sold. So that's the way I'm going to play it until I'm really certain that we're going back up. What I really want to see actually is a drop in the miners, and then I'm going to buy that. But maybe the train's left the station, but I'm still sort of 3/4 in that train. So, but one thing that I am doing is looking at the juniors, because the juniors are seriously undervalued still. If this is the real move, if silver's going to go to 26 and gold holds 2000, we're going up to 2100, 2200, and this is it. There are some juniors out there that, and I don't have the best watch list because I've gotten rid of a lot that pissed me off, that underperformed. But even the shittiest of miners will have extraordinary gains. You know, they could go up like a tenfold. Even one that's supposed to go bankrupt, they just have to. And I'm starting to see a few, like I have 3 juniors, Rainer Silver, Turmalina, and Trillium, and 2 of them were up 20% today. And I was looking for others. I thought, oh, this could be the beginning of the juniors, the real micro juniors just running. So, but yeah, you can see, sorry, just to finish off, the GDX, yeah, filled the gap. But you know, this is the next resistance that I identified a while ago. Nothing wrong with that. I agree. 36, nice round number 2. For this to go up there, I mean, you can see we've clearly cleared this prior resistance here, and we're closing a high of day 5%. That's the kind of day we should have had today. What does that mean? That means gold probably has to be touching its old high of, or maybe not, 2.5%, maybe. But you can see, even if gold's touching its historic high, we should be all the way up here at least, because look, the old high of GDX is at 68. We're at 34. So generally speaking, the miners are so undervalued. And the juniors even more so. I mean, look at the juniors. Here, the resistance identified. We're not that far away. We could get there tomorrow, even on a small up day in the sector, but we should really be testing 40, 44, 44 and a half, this secondary resistance. But again, zoom out, look at the GDXJ. What the hell am I even selling anything for? This should be going not all the way up here, but all the way up here, 60, which is a 50% gain from where we are. So that's why I don't want to sell too much. So I realize how I'm just zoomed in and trying to micromanage. And in the end, the best thing to do is just go on a holiday and not look and come back, and it's all the way up there. But this is just the way I've been trading, and generally it makes sense, because if there's a drop, you're going to be happy you sold and you can really compound your gains. But I was selling all the way up here. I was getting worried, and then I was very happy to do it on the drop. And here we've got an even better move up, and we're gold at 2000. So maybe this time I shouldn't be too aggressive on the selling. So I'm happy just trimming what I've gained for the day and not selling more. But it's time for me to start looking at the juniors, because some of these are, I mean, I'm just looking at any, here are just some I rearranged today. I don't even know how good these are. Marathon Gold Core, for example, look how destroyed this is, I don't get, like, even if this stock is supposed to go bankrupt or whatever, fine, it's not going to go all the way up. I know that it doesn't work that way, but you can imagine a 40% gain in 1 or 2 weeks. That's definitely allowed. Golden Minerals, you followed it a lot in the past, made some good money on it, but today it went up 14%, but then I realized, wait a minute, this could go up a lot more. You could have 100% gain in this in 1 or 2 weeks, and then it goes back down again. And I don't even think this one is that bad in terms of balance sheet and all that stuff. Helio Metals that I was in and that I took a loss on the drop, I really thought that I'd bought it well, and in the end I dumped it around here. My average is around here. I was down like 20%. I thought, I don't want these anymore. And now it's basically higher than where I dumped it, and I'm actually looking to buy it. But I'm looking to buy it with gold at 2000 rather than sort of 1600 or something. But this could easily make a little 100% move, and I don't know, you could probably go even higher. But this is one that I just looked at after my silver. I used to own this. I forgot where I got out. I don't even know if I really lost money. I think I got out before the flush or something. But now I'm gonna buy back maybe just below where I sold it, and it looks good here. You can see why. It's prior support acting as resistance, and here we're probably going to break out of resistance and probably run to 50 cents or something. So another 100% potentially. Brixton Metals, I don't know, I'm not going to go through all of these, but and this is not my portfolio. These are just a bunch of random juniors that I have on my watch list. I'm sure there are better ones, but you look at these charts, you think, my God, there's such potential. So I might chase these, because when I look at some other ones, let's look at Goldfields that I've been in for a while. Look at the move it's had, So maybe I sell some Goldfields and buy some of these guys. And anyway, all right, very long video. Very sorry. I hope it was of use. Obviously, for the gold, silver people out there, it's been beautiful. It's been emotional almost. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens tomorrow. I'll end the video there, but hopefully you found that useful.